Thank you for joining us today. I'm Amit, your host from Metionic Innovation, and I'll be your host for this session. At Metionic, we are DevSecOps and cybersecurity solutions consulting company, helping organizations identify and implement the right tools across the entire SDLC lifecycle. We focus on covering critical security gaps and enabling enterprises to build a robust and scalable security posture. Today's session is in collaboration with FireMon, a global leader in security policy management and firewall optimization, helping enterprises simplify complex network security environments. Before we begin, let us focus on a few housekeeping rules. This session is being recorded and will be shared with you post-webinar. All participants are currently on mute to ensure a smooth, uninterrupted session. If you have any question during the webinar, please feel free to drop them in the chat box. We will have a dedicated Q&A session at the end of the session to address your queries. Okay. So let's get started with today's topic, from firewall chaos to intelligent security ops. India's digital infrastructure is scaling rapidly across industries like BFSI, IT, ITES, and manufacturing. But with this scale comes increased complexity and risks. Around 68% of breaches are linked to firewall misconfigurations. Nearly 40% of enterprise firewall rules are either unused or overly permissive. This clearly highlights the need for better visibility, control, automation in managing firewall policies. In today's session, we will explore how organizations are reducing their attack surface and achieving continuous compliance through intelligent and automated policy management. Here's what we'll be covering today: the modern firewall challenge, unified security policy management, effective compliance standards, hidden risk in your policies, how FireMon simplifies operations, and in the end, interactive demo followed by Q&A session. Now it's time to introduce our speaker for the session. We have with us Yogesh Gangopuran, Senior Sales Engineer at FireMon. Yogesh is an experienced cybersecurity professional with a strong background in enterprise security solutions and technical pre-sales. He has worked with leading organizations like Qualys, Morphisec, Tripwire, and Securite, helping enterprises tackle complex security challenges and improve their overall security posture. With that, I would like to hand over the session to Yogesh to take us through the presentation. Yogesh, this virtual stage is all yours. Over to you.
Okay, thanks. Thank you. Thanks, Amit. Thanks for setting the stage. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. So what I will be doing during this session is I'll try to highlight the chaos which is there within while you are monitoring or you are managing your firewalls, and how this chaos can be turned into an intelligent security operations. Okay.
Yogesh, I think your voice is a little low. So
Is it still low?
yeah, a little.
Okay. Okay,
You can write in
change
the chat
that.
box if you also feel the same. If you can hear the audio, please let us know.
Yeah. Pooja, it's fine. Okay. Great. But Arun says it's fine. So yeah. So what I'll try to do is that I'll try to during my presentation I'll highlight the chaos, the statistics what Amit did mention. We have those statistics too. So we will just share those statistics. What would be the impact if the chaos is there within your firewalls, and then what would be the solution for that? How to remediate those chaos and turn this into an intelligent security operations. So that's the focus of mine. And if the time permits, I'll also give you a walkthrough of our tool, how exactly the FireMon tool, how exactly you can use the tool and get the actionable inputs. Okay. Amit rightly mentioned about that 60% enterprise firewalls fails high severity compliance checks during the initial evaluation. Uh, but I wanted to highlight the most important point is that 65% of the application objects and 82% of the service objects shows as zero usage, which means that there are the service or the application objects are still present, but they are not of use, which is unnecessary policy borrowed. Uh, you can also see 10% of the rules are redundant, which means that there is already a rule which is being utilized, but there might be a duplicate rule or a superset of that specific rule, which had been created, because of which there are duplicate rules or redundant rules. So this uses the firewalls, this reduces the optimization of your firewall. This consumes more resources, and then there is a latency because of this specific thing. So these are some of the important points or the statistics. So what could be the consequences of ignoring security policy? You might lead into a breach attack because there could be unused rules which might not be used, but the attackers may use it. Okay. There could be an unplanned outage because of the configurational errors in the firewall policies. There could be an increase in the staffing cost because there could be an additional work which needs to be done with a manual process. And then there could be fines, and the risk lawsuits can come against your organization because of these firewall policies. Okay, which might be because of unknown, like insecure ports being opened, exposing your network to the outside world, and all those stuff. Okay. Uh, what Gartner did mention is that 99% of the firewall breaches are caused because of misconfiguration and not because of the firewall, which means that the configuration was not being as per or hardened properly, or the rules which were created are not as per the standard rules. Okay, and that's the reason there could be a breach. So, how exactly we can shift this manual operations into intelligent security automations? So, these are the three pillars of FireMon. So, we reduce risk, manage changes, and enforce compliances. So, what we do with these three pillars is that we reduce your manual process or manual work, and we provide you a tool which will give you a ready report, which has an actionable items which where the action needs to be taken, and thus you can reduce the risk, as well as you can reduce the time to make sure that the rules are compliant or not compliant and all that stuff. Okay. So what exactly we do when we say reduce risk? So FireMon can give you a clear understanding, or can provide you a clear picture of the rules which are redundant, the rules which are shadowed, expired, unused, the rules which are like disabled, or the rules which are where the logging is disabled, or there are no comments. So these are the gaps or the risks which are there within your firewalls. Okay. Once you onboard your firewalls within FireMon, all this information can be captured, and on a real-time basis, we can provide you these visibilities. Now, FireMon goes one step beyond just the reports. It will try to highlight specific rules out of like 10,000 rules which you have in your firewall. It will pinpoint those two rules which are redundant to each other, or probably a duplicate, or probably there might be superset of each other, and it will also tell you that okay, this is the rule which needs to be deleted because of this rule already covers those traffics. Okay, so such types of reports is available with us. It also provides you the consolidation reports, where the duplicate rules exactly look alike rules can be showcased to you, and then you can probably merge those rules into a single rule and delete the rest of the rules. It will also give you the information that, okay, the rules are basically high in usage, but low in your rule base. So you want to change the sequence of these specific rules, put it at a higher end, so that when this particular traffic is generated, it does not lead to look into all those upper rules, and then at the bottom where the rule is present, it will allow that. And because of this, the latency will get reduced. Because of this, your firewall be working optimum utilization can be done. Okay. So this is what we help you with the to reduce your risk, manage change. So once the FireMon, like the firewalls are onboarded within your within the FireMon, we can tell you exactly what has been changed. If anyone does any modification within your firewalls, we can tell you exactly like, okay, which is that specific device where the change has happened, when was the change happened, who has done the change, and what exactly got changed. So you can see in this screenshot that, okay, the device name, uh, we capture every change as a revision ID, and that's the reason you see the revision for every change. Then what action was happened, when exactly this got happened, who is the user who has done those changes, and what type of objects these changes happen. Okay. Now we also go one step beyond this, okay, and we can highlight specific rules which are getting added or deleted or modified. During my demo, I'll show you exactly the differentiation or when you compare between two timelines, what exactly got changed. I'll show you that. Okay. And then the compliances. So this is very important. So whoever follows the compliance like the PCI, HIPAA, HITRUST, ISO. So we do have templates already available with us. It is just a matter of time that you just need to map these particular controls against your firewall, and within minutes, we can generate the report and we can tell you exactly that, okay, how many controls are getting passed, how many controls are getting failed, and if it is getting failed, what is the severity of that control failure. Okay, and then we also provide within the report the actionable, like, okay, what is the remediation steps. Okay, you need to go to this particular tab, click on that button, and then you have to change those settings. So that type of remediations are being provided by us. And that's where it becomes easy for you to just look into those reports and then take actions or do the modifications and make sure that the next time when you do the scan, if this is much more compliant, and then you can share these reports, audit ready reports, to your auditors too, who will be able to view this, and they will be able to understand that yes, you do follow the compliances and you are compliant as per the hardening guidelines or as per the compliances. We can also provide you customized templates. You can modify the templates which are already available, probably change the password length from 14 to 12 characters, something like that. Or you can create a complete new custom controls as per your requirement. Okay, and then map it against your firewall and check the compliances accordingly. Okay. Okay, so after the three pillars, what we support. So we are like, we do support firewalls. Let it be your Checkpoint, Palo Alto, Cisco, Fortinet. Okay, you name, and we do have the support for that. So we support 80 plus vendors, and we do have support for all those 80 plus vendors of firewalls. Apart from the firewalls, we also support router switches, load balancers. We do support your cloud instances like AWS, Azure, Google Cloud. So what we exactly support in the cloud accounts is the NSGs. So the rules which you create, the security rules which you create in your uh, cloud accounts, right? So that's where we can pull those information and then map according to those three pillars which I recently discussed. Okay, and we can provide you the actionable reports. We can also support your native firewalls which are there within your Azure or AWS or Google accounts, and we can also support vendor-based cloud firewalls. Okay, like you might have a Palo Alto firewall on your AWS, Azure, or Google Cloud. So we can support that firewalls too. Apart from this, we do support SD-WANs and the SASE tools like the Zscalers. So we can also onboard those two Zscaler tools and give you those visibilities. Okay. Now, FireMon could be a single pane of glass where you onboard all these types of devices, irrespective whether they are on-premises firewalls like Checkpoint, Palo Alto, Cisco, or it might be your cloud account, NSGs, native firewalls, or it might be a Zscaler as a tool. Okay, all those rules would be can be seen within the FireMon, and then with the help of that, you can do various activities. You can do the search. You can check the compliances of all those devices. Okay, and then you can also do the change monitoring for that. We can do integrations with your SIEM, SOAR, scanner. We can also integrate with your ITSM tools. So there are different use cases for the integrations. So as per the use cases, we ask you to, okay, how the integration works. We can let you know that. Now, this is something very important very useful for you, because this is something like proprietary to us. So with each and every tab, okay, when we pull out the information from various firewalls, we divide this information into devices, policies, and roles. And every tab will have a specific filter options. Okay, so you can use those filter options to pull and check, okay, what exactly the information you want to look into. Okay, and using those filters, you get a very quick information that, okay, let's go, let me check all those rules, irrespective whether it's on the cloud or on-premises firewalls, whether it's in Palo Alto, Checkpoint, or Cisco. I want to check which are those rules where the port number 22 is opened from external to internal. So as soon as I put this information in my filters, I get a quick information that, okay, these are the rules. This is the device where these are the rules which has been opened with the port number 22. Okay, so that you can take actions and you can close those connections, or you can disable the rules as the actions can be done. Now, on top of this, like, we can also use this simple filters into something very complex like SQL language. Okay, like security intelligence query language, SIQL. Okay, now just by clicking a single button, which is like advanced within the FireMon console, the filters gets converted into an SIQL query. Okay. Now, these queries can be used for various purposes. This can be used in the report so that you can get reports at a regular interval of time. This can be used within the compliances where you can create a compliance from the scratch. So this can be very much useful for you when you do want to do check for the complex information. We are completely on-premises solution, so there is nothing that goes out of your network. Everything stays within your network. Now, based on the number of devices, we can tell you that, okay, all these three components, which is data collector, application server, and database server, can be within a single instance, or it can be in a multiple instance. Okay, so every module or every component of ours has a specific use case or specific role within the architecture. So the data collector's specific role is to go to the firewalls or the network devices and collect the config file, or fetch the config file over port number 22 and 443. Then this information is being captured and it is being forwarded to the application server where the normalization happens. This is also the place where you go and access the management console. This is also the place where you get an email alerts. Okay, you can configure the emails settings there within the application server. Once the normalization and correlation happens within the application server, then all this information is stored in the database where it can be viewed for the later on purpose. Okay, so Yeah. So this is my last slide. So basically, to summarize whatever I did mention, so we once you onboard your FireMon within your environment, we can help you with the scalability. We have the reputation of supporting 50K devices and 25 million routes within a single instance. So yeah, we can scale and perform. We can provide you with a real-time information or reporting alerts. We can do the customization, the compliance reports or the compliances or the controls can be customized as per your requirement. You can go and search whatever the information you want to go search, and you get a real-time information within a seconds. And then we are an API first. We do follow API first approach, and that's the reason we can be. It's very easy for us to integrate with SIM, SOAR, vulnerability scanner, and the ITSM tools. Okay. So I'll quickly show you the management console. Yeah. So this is the management console of FireMon. Within the management console, you can see that, okay, I can see the overview of the entire devices, whatever I have onboarded here. Okay, and then I can get to see the list of the last 10 devices which has been added along with the security score. Okay, then I can also tell you like, okay, what is the percentage of changes which has happened in last 7 days? What are the cleaning activities which needs to be done, and what is the compliance for? Okay, so each and every module of us has a specific dashboard, and you can view those dashboards. We work on 3C principles. So the first C, which is cleanup, or the reduce risk option. So within that dashboard, you can see, okay, if there are any rules which are redundant, shadowed, expired, unused, disabled, logging disabled, no comments. Okay, these are all drill down, can be drilled down. So I can simply click on, let's go with an expiry rule. Okay, so I can go and look for my expiry rules. Okay, which are 6 of them, and I can show you that, okay, these rules are from the different devices. Still, as I said, that FireMon is a single pane of glass. Irrespective of when you onboard multiple devices, we do normalize those information and show you in a similar way. So these are the rules which are expired. And how I know that these are being expired? Because my rule documentation has an information from the firewall that, okay, this is a date where the expiration date is there. And this means that the rule got already expired. Okay. So within this particular pane of glass, you see the role name is mentioned, the device is mentioned, the source IP, the source zone, destination IP, destination zone, the objects, let it be your service objects or application objects, or in that case, actions, security profiles, schedule objects. So everything can be seen within in this particular role. Okay. On top of this, we also check the hit counts. Okay, based on the syslogs, we do understand, okay, how much traffic is being utilized by this specific role, and that's where the hit counts gets increased. Okay, so once you see the hit counts here, you will also be able to see when was exactly this last used. And since this has not been used, it is also mentioned that it is unused rule. Okay. Going at within the compliance also, like I have a different tab for compliance where you get to see the complete information of those compliances. But if you want to have a quick look that, okay, with this specific rule, how many controls are getting failed? Which are those critical controls which are getting failed? Which are those high severity controls getting failed? Medium, low controls getting failed. Okay, and I can simply click with this and I can get to see, okay, the controls which are getting failed. And then in this part where I can see the revision ID, I can see when exactly this was last time changed and which is the user who has modified this specific rule. So this gives me other information about this rule. And coming to the filters, as I said that I can add on a lot of filters. Okay. Like I can just add multiple filters here and let me choose. Okay, so I have added this filter already, and let me also choose put the unused rule. Okay, so that yeah. So as I said you that you can use the filters to get the specific information which you want. And once you add those filters, you will get to see those specific rules here. But then when I click on advanced, this simple filter has been converted into my SIQL query. And now this query can be used within the reports to customize the reports. These queries can be used within my controls to make a customized controls. Okay, and that's the reason I was saying that it's very simple for me to use those create those custom queries. Okay. Yeah. So, and apart from this, like it's not only about the security rules, even the objects. So I also give you the information about the objects, and then I categorize those objects as unused, unreferred, whether it is empty, or in that case, it is a system generated. So all those information can be seen from here. Okay, so like let's go and see some of the empty rules. So here you see these are the empty, and you see the object name is created, but nothing is present within the address. So that's the reason these rules are basically empty. And when I say unreferred, this means that this object is being created, but this is not being referred to any of the security rules. Okay, so that's where I categorize this as empty and unreferred. So before going to the compliances, let me show you here these are the controls, the built-in controls which are available once you onboard your FireMon. Okay, and you can see the CIS benchmarks, you can see ISO benchmarks, you can also see the best practices which we already have. So you can use these controls to check within your environment. Okay, if any HTTP or HTTP is allowed from external to internal. If that is the case, then yes, you need to highlight those particular rules. So this is how exactly the control looks like. Okay. Yeah. So rules using SMTP or rules using telnet. So if there are any rules which has port number 23 allowed, so give me those information. So once this control is executed along those devices, it will give you the complete list of the rules which are allowing port number 22, and then you can take actions accordingly. Okay. You can also modify, you can create your own compliances just by duplicating this, and then you have the right to modify those information for exactly you are looking within the controls. So once you map your firewalls against those controls or the assessments, this is the place where you can see this information that okay, if I am using the PCI DSS as my assessment and have mapped against 150 device, so and the specific PCI DSS version 4 has 191 controls. So when I map this, these are my controls which are getting failed. Luckily, I'm not failing any of the critical controls, but there are a lot of controls which are high severity, which are getting failed. There are many controls which are getting failed for the medium severity. And then how many controls are getting passed. So I can quickly go and pull out a report also here, and then I can use this specific customizations to get a specific group of firewalls report or individual firewall report, And then I can also customize what type of information to be seen within the firewalls, whether it needs to be your executive summary, or whether you want to go and view all the detailed information about this specific device or specific rule, and what exactly the result should consist. Whether it should be the pass and fail rules or the controls, or it has to be only the fail rules which needs to be seen within the reports. Do I want to limit the number of policies or the security rules which is getting failed to be seen, or all the rules which are getting failed I have to go and have visibility within the reports. So once you do those customizations, and once you select okay what type of report format you want the report to be in, so you can select that and you can run the reports, and quickly within seconds you will get the reports within your email, or if you want to view in the console itself, you can see those reports under reports, my reports, okay, and you get to see the reports accordingly. Okay. Going to the compliances zone. Now, this is a place where you define your zones, okay? And then you might have certain policies within your organization which mentions that, okay, if any IP which belongs to zone DMZ, and if there are any IP which belongs to external zone, okay, then there should not be any security rule which is allowing the DMZ zone to connect to the external world. Okay. If there are any, then highlight me. So this is where I have created a zone matrix through this. Okay. And I can create or edit this. Okay, and I can mention, okay, what exactly needs to happen here, what I need to check. If there is any zone, like if any IP which belongs to DMZ zone, and any zone which, any IP which belongs to external, there should not be any SSH to be allowed. Okay. So if there is any rule which is allowing SSH to happen from DMZ to external, it needs to be highlighted. And I can see the rules which are allowing such access. I can see rules which are getting failed. I can see devices which are getting failed. I can see the controls which are getting failed because of this. Okay. So this is how exactly you can configure or customize your organization's policy within the firewall. Okay. Changes. So once we map those information, once we onboard the FireMon within the, once we onboard firewalls within FireMon, it starts getting the information about the changes. And you can see, okay, which is those specific device, when exactly this got changed, who is the user who has done these changes, and how many changes happen. When I click on the change count, I can see, okay, there is a security rule which got modified. And then the rule name was, okay, it has changed from test to test risky. Okay, if you want to see in a more graphical way, then, okay, you can click on the revision ID, and then you can click on the view changes, and you can simply see the complete rule. Okay, and the rule name which was earlier, which is like showcasing with a minus symbol, and then which has been newly added with a addition symbol. Okay, so this is how exactly I can show you what got modified, what exactly changed within your rule. And now let me compare this with some other revisions or yeah. So I can see here, okay, this is the rule which got completely deleted. You can see here with a red color and minus icon. So which means that, yes, this rule has completely deleted from this particular revision ID to this particular revision ID. Okay. And if I go a bit up, then yeah, so this between this revision ID to this revision ID, there was a new rule which has been added. So this is the new rule which got added. Okay, so that's how we can give you a graphical information, and this same information would be forwarded to you or over the email mentioning that, okay, this is specifically changes which has happened over a period of time. Okay. Now let me go to the, yeah. So I can go and view the information about the rules for this specific device, or if I want to go and view the rules for the entire group of device, I can do that also. And if I want to view the entire network devices, I can do that also. So the multiple permutation combinations can be done using this particular tab, where you can view, where you can check what exactly rules I want to see. Okay. Now, once you onboard the firewalls within FireMon, I can show you the complete list, like I can show you the complete topology. And this is how exactly the topology will look like. So the firewalls, because we have the information about the routes, we have the information about the NAT rules, we have the information of the security rules. We understand that, okay, this specific firewall will be able to communicate with this particular subnet, and then this subnet will be able to communicate with this particular cloud account or something like that, right? Or in that case, this particular firewall will be able to communicate with this particular subnet, how exactly this would be, the traffic will flow. So we will be able to show you those information, and this specific firewall, you can see the status, correct? And you can see the primary address attached to those interfaces. So this also gives you a good information about that. Okay, which are those interfaces which are working, which are those not working. Okay, accordingly. Okay, coming back to topology. So let's say that, okay, I want to do some troubleshooting. Let's take a scenario that one of the user, where I have created the rules for the request. Okay, and his source IP was like 10.0.5.0. Okay, and the destination port destination IP was 10.0.1.0, and the port number was 443. So I have allowed this within the firewalls, but somehow he's not able to reach the destination. He's not able to connect to this particular server. Okay. Now, generally with the manual approach, what could be my stance is that, okay, I will go and look into each and every firewall where this rule was supposed to be created, and I'll see whether the traffic is getting allowed or denied. And within the logs, and I'll search for those logs, I'll see whether there are any rules which are getting denied before this rule which is created, where the deny rule is there, or probably I'll just search for those logs and those rules which is properly created or not, whether the commit has been done or not, something like that, right? And it takes a good amount of time to do those type of troubleshootings. Instead of that, you just need to come to this FireMon, just add this source IP, destination IP, and port, and then run this. Once you run, you get to see the exact traffic, how exactly this is getting flow. Okay, you can see that, okay, this particular subnet is moving from, and this goes to this particular 40net firewall. And I can see, okay, there is a match rule which has this specific information, and it is allowing this communication to happen. I can click on this particular rule, and I can see which is that rule which is allowing this communication to happen. Okay, and then I can go and check in the other firewall, and then I can see, okay, there is a deny rule, basically, because this is an implicit deny rule which is getting blocked, and because of this the traffic is not allowing to flow. And within the diagram also, you see this particular firewall is being highlighted with red color, which means the traffic is getting blocked here. And I can go and see, okay, which is that specific rule, or I want to see the rule number, basically. Okay, I can see those information, and then I can simply log in into this particular device, and I can create a new rule with this particular information with the user request, and then the traffic will automatically start flowing in. Okay. So yeah. Okay. One more thing which I wanted to showcase to you was that in case if you want to search for anything, like for an example test, let it be it might be within any of the devices. It might be a device group, it might be a rule, or it might be the object. Anywhere within this particular description or within the name, if test is mentioned, I can do the search accordingly. So this is a omni search, which gives me the complete picture, okay, where exactly this name or this specific term is being used, irrespective whether it's your device, group, rule, whether it's your policies, service objects, or whatever it is. Okay. Yeah, that's it from my side, what I wanted to showcase to you tonight. And I'm ready for the questions if there are any.
Well,
Thank
that's
you so much.
great, Yogesh. Thank you very much for this awesome session. And I actually have one question with me that after going through the entire session, I could. So I just want to know, how does FireMon identify and prioritize risky firewall rules?
Yeah. So, okay, I'll share my screen and I'll show you those. Okay. So when you mention about risky or risky rules, right? So I can go into the compliances under best practice 2. Okay. Noise. So if you see here, these are all the risky roles actually, specifically highlighting the telnet is allowed, okay, and then the SMTP is allowed, which should not be allowed from the external to internal in that case, okay, and then there could also be like specifically overly permissive rules where any to any rule is being allowed. Okay. So I can simply go, I can use those controls, okay, which is already available with me, or I can go into the policies and I can go into this specific rule policy here, and I can search for those rules like source. Okay, like for an example, overly permissive rules. Anything which is having the rules which has a subnet of /8, okay, and like the services also include any also. Like let's take an example that from the port number 20 to 22, the port number like 3389. Okay. So these are some of the risky services actually. So if there are any rules which is having associated with this specific services, or where the specific source IP belongs to this particular subnet, then yes, these are the risky rules for me. So that's how I can get this information in my PDF or CSV format, and then I can use this information to either remove this rule if it is not useful, or I can restrict the source destination from /8 to those specific IPs where exactly I need this information. Okay.
Okay, great. So, Yogesh, I can see another question from Arun. What is the most common hidden challenge organizations face with firewall and security policy management, and how does FireMon help solve it?
Okay. So mostly the challenges which comes is like the unused rules. There could be a lot of rules which might be created for a temporary time period. Let's take an example that for the POCs, right? So many of the times you do test a lot of other products, and during the POCs, the user asks you to open certain IPs, certain ports, okay, And then after the POC or after the business is been done, no one goes and tells that, okay, my work is done and you need to delete this particular rule. And that's where it remains within your firewall for the till eternity in that case, right? And then no one wants to take a risk that go ahead and delete those rules because it's very, very risky. Because if you're deleting a rule, which means after that time period, there won't be any traffic flowing from that particular source to destination. So that might be a business impact if it belongs to a very, very critical business applications or business thing. Okay. So that's the reason no one wants to take those risks and no one goes and deletes those rules. And those rules remain within your firewall, creating uh, like the resources are being consumed by the firewalls unwantedly. Those rules lies within your firewalls. There could be the latencies getting increased because of these unused rules. So this is one of the hidden challenges. But apart from that, I also believe one more thing which is very small, that if you create a rule and if you don't allow logging into that rule, which means that if anyone is using that particular rule or the traffic is generated because of that rule, there won't be any logs. So suppose there is a breach. Okay, let's take an example that there is a breach which has happened and the attacker has used that specific rule to get inside your network. So when you do an investigation and when you try to understand or do the backward path, like how exactly the attacker has entered into your environment, now within the firewall, when you see those logs should be missing. This is just a small check mark which needs to be done, but this creates a lot of impact, right? There are no traces belonging to the attacker. There is no trace that how exactly the attacker came into your environment, and because of this, the investigation goes nowhere. So these are small, very simple or very minor things, but can cause a lot of impact or a lot of challenges within the environment. So these are small things which we highlight within our reports, within the console, and using this information, you can rectify those small mistakes, and then you can make sure that it is properly configured. Yeah.
Okay. Yogesh, we have another question from Arun itself. Across different industries, what is the one firewall or security policy management issue that organizations consistently underestimate, and how does FireMon help them address it?
Okay. So mostly it belongs to the overly permissive rule, because what happens is sometimes the admins provide the rule, okay, with bigger subnets or any rule in that case, and because of which they are allowed for a temporary time period, but then they are not able to drill down those overly permissive rule into an exact rules. Okay. And that's where we also come into picture, where we can give you those specific information. Like once you put this like rule of any which you have created, so that your business application works properly without any stoppages. But now you want to restrict that particular overly permissive rules into a specific rules, right? So you can put this within the FireMon as a traffic analysis, where you can put this specific rule for a day, for 7 days or 13 days. And within that time period, we will sniff the traffic and we will tell you exactly that, okay, this any rule can be further divided into 10 different rules, with rule number 1 as source as 1.1.1 and destination as 2.2.2, because I can see there is a traffic generated from 1.1.1, and these are the number of hit counts which has been generated from this particular source to this particular destination over this particular port. And then the rule number 2 also stays the same. So you don't have to open everything. And even if you have opened any everything for a time period, you can sniff those traffic and get exactly information where the rules needs to be created. So I guess, yeah, this is something which is very much underestimated. But then, yeah, it's a big it's a big problem for the customers because no one allows overly permissive rules to be allowed within their firewalls.
Uh, Great. So I hope that answers your question, Arun. So I got another question from one of. So he has written, how frequently is configuration and policy data collected and updated?
Come again? Sorry.
He asked, how frequently is configuration and policy data collected and updated?
Okay. Yeah. So we can do it on a real-time basis, or we can schedule this as per your requirement. So what happens is once you onboard your firewalls within FireMon, we go and fetch those config, and then the normalization is being done by the application server, and this is how exactly the information look like. And let's suppose that you do some modifications within the firewall. So on a real-time basis, we get those information using the syslogs, and then we can go and fetch the config again, and that's where we show you the difference between what exactly got changed. Okay, so this is one of the way. Second is let's assume that you don't need a real sorry, you don't need a real-time information. You just need to you might want to schedule once in a day, and within 24 hours whatever the changes happen you want to see that, so we can do that also. So permutation combinations can be done.
Great. Another question that I can see here is, which compliance frameworks are supported out of the box? PCI DSS,
Yeah.
NIST, ISO 27001, CIS, benchmarks, etc.
Yeah, so I did mention this, like you can see the ISOs, you can see the CIS. We do also have SOC, SOC, SOX, SOX, and then we also have GDPR templates. We do have NIST, HIPAA, High Trust, NERC, you name, and we got those controls already available with us. Uh, Now it's up to you whether you want to use those default templates or you want to customize that. You can do that both.
Okay, that's great. So if anyone else has any question, feel free to ask. I think we have already answered most of the questions that I got. Great. And it was really an awesome session, Yogesh. I could really draw lots of things, and I hope the people out here have gotten some other information, and maybe we can connect to you once if you have any doubts or any questions that you want to ask or you want to have a one-on-one session. So really, thank you, Yogesh, for presenting for your presentation and for giving your time out. And rest, thank you everyone for joining us today. We hope you found the session valuable and insightful. If you would like to explore this further or schedule a detailed session or a demonstration, feel free to reach out to us, and you can directly connect to us, and we will be any which ways connecting you for all the attendees who have joined, so we can connect after that. Okay.
Yeah.